Hi, welcome to Story Time with Gigi. Today we're going to be reading a classic story called The Three Musketeers. This story was written by Alexandre Dumas, retold by Xavier Parada. Illustrated by John Manders. Are you familiar with this story? It's fun. D'Artagnan was headed to Paris. He had little money in his pocket, but he did have a letter of introduction that his father had written to Mr. Tréville, the captain of the King's Guards, the Musketeers. All his life, D'Artagnan had dreamed of being a musketeer, the finest, most noble soldiers in France. Now he was on his way. D'Artagnan stopped at an inn just outside Paris. "Look at that horse," guffawed a nobleman with a scar on his head. "It's as yellow as a buttercup." "No man laughs at my horse," cried D'Artagnan. He whipped out his sword, but one of the nobleman's servants struck him on the head with a shovel. Do you see the scar? D'Artagnan woke. He heard the nobleman saying, "Hurry to England, my Lady de Winter. You know that Cardinal Richelieu wants you to do." "Yes, Comte de Rochefort," answered the lady. They left. D'Artagnan was about to leave too. He reached in his pocket to pay the innkeeper and realized Comte de Rochefort had stolen his letter. There's the letter. D'Artagnan went straight to Mr. Tréville in Paris. "I want to be a musketeer," he said, "but a scoundrel stole my letter of introduction to you." "With or without your letter, you must prove yourself worthy," said Mr. Tréville. "Only then can you become a musketeer." "Thank you, sir," cried D'Artagnan. Suddenly, three magnificent musketeers swept in. D'Artagnan bowed, awed by these men, his heroes. "Athos, Porthos, Aramis," said Mr. Tréville. "Meet D'Artagnan. He wants to be a musketeer." The three men smiled. "We shall soon see if he is worthy," said Aramis. "I'll soon prove that I am," declared D'Artagnan. But things didn't go as well as he'd hoped. He knocked Athos's hat into a puddle. "I challenge you to a duel at noon," said Athos. He smeared mud on Porthos's boots. "I challenge you to a duel at 1 o'clock," said Porthos. He spooked Aramis's horse. "I challenge you to a duel at 2 o'clock," said Aramis. At noon, Athos and D'Artagnan drew their swords. Suddenly, Cardinal Richelieu's guards galloped up. The cardinal was the most powerful man in France after the king. He had his own guards who hated the musketeers. "Dueling on the streets is against the law," shouted their captain. "You musketeers are all under arrest." "You'll have to catch us first," cried Aramis. D'Artagnan joined in the fight with relish, brandishing his sword with such force that the guards soon fled, fearing for their lives. "You are indeed brave, young D'Artagnan," said Aramis. "Forget the duels. You can be our friend." A young woman named Constance came to see D'Artagnan. "The queen needs your help," said Constance. "The king gave her a necklace with 12 diamonds in it. Evil Cardinal Richelieu found out that she gave it away to her friend, the Duke of Buckingham, an enemy of the king." "Go to London and give the Duke this letter," said Constance. "Bring the necklace back before the ball." "I will leave at once," said D'Artagnan, tucking the letter in his pocket. D'Artagnan explained the queen's problem to Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. "Will you help me get the necklace?" he asked. "It will be dangerous. "Of course we will help you," said his three friends. They drew their swords and put their tips together. All for one, and one for all. Immediately they left Paris, riding as fast as their horses could go, hurrying to reach the coast. There they would find a ship to carry them to England. The four brave friends did not know that Cardinal Richelieu was plotting against them. After a few hours of hard riding, they stopped at an inn. A stranger lumbered up to Porthos. "Let's drink a toast to Cardinal Richelieu," he said. Porthos frowned. "I will drink only to the king." The stranger shoved Porthos, then whipped out a knife. "Musketeer," he spat, "fight me if you dare." "Porthos," said Aramis, "we don't have time for this." "I cannot back down from such a swine," said Porthos. "Let the battle begin." Aramis, Athos, and D'Artagnan had no choice. They had to fight too. Porthos was so badly wounded they had to leave him behind at the inn. Yikes. Night fell. D'Artagnan, Athos, and Aramis rode into a deep valley. Suddenly, hundreds of hissing arrows rained down on them. "It's an ambush!" Athos shouted. There was no way to fight back. They couldn't even see their attackers. They rode blindly, then thwack! "I'm hit!" cried Aramis. An arrow stuck in his arm. D'Artagnan pulled Aramis onto his horse. When they were safely out of the valley, Aramis said, "I'm too weak to go on. Leave me." You can see up here. There's the arrowman. And there's another. Yikes. That's horrible. But at a tavern, trouble awaited Athos and D'Artagnan. When Athos paid for their food, the landlord accused him. "You gave me counterfeit money." "That's a lie," said Athos. "Guards, arrest this man," shouted the landlord. Suddenly a guard grabbed Athos from behind. Another held a sword to his chest. Two guards came toward D'Artagnan, their swords drawn. "It's a trap!" Athos shouted. "Go!" D'Artagnan bolted from the inn, leapt onto his horse, and rode off, leaving the guards in the dust. Yikes. As D'Artagnan neared the port of Calais, his tired horse refused to take another step. Alone and weary, D'Artagnan trudged the rest of the way to the docks and boarded the ship that would take him to England. The journey across the channel was stormy. Wind and waves tossed the ship around like a cork. When at last D'Artagnan landed in England, he rented a horse, rode to London, and found the Duke of Buckingham. "Alas," cried the Duke when he read the Queen's letter, "2 of the diamonds were stolen. I believe Cardinal Richelieu ordered my Lady de Winter to steal them. He wants to shame the Queen." "The King will be furious if he sees diamonds are missing," said D'Artagnan. "We must replace them, but hurry. The ball is in 5 days. See the missing diamonds right there. For 3 anxious days, D'Artagnan and the Duke stood over the jeweler at his bench, urging him to work faster, but the old man would not be rushed. At last the diamonds were ready. D'Artagnan slipped them into a pouch and bade the Duke goodbye. "Thank you, D'Artagnan," said the Duke. "I'm in your debt. You have protected the Queen's honor and mine as well. Think of me as a friend from now on." D'Artagnan rushed back to Paris and went straight to the Queen. "You brought the diamonds," said the Queen. "Thank you." "Your Majesty," said Constance, "the ball is beginning. We must go." The Queen took D'Artagnan's hand. "I will never forget your kindness," she said. Then she and Constance hurried off. The king smiled, pleased to see the Queen wearing the necklace. Cardinal Richelieu was furious. How did she get all 12 diamonds back, he wondered. D'Artagnan enjoyed the ball, but he enjoyed seeing the cardinal's displeasure even more. There's D'Artagnan. The next day, Mr. Tréville said, D'Artagnan, you have proven your valor. D'Artagnan's chest swelled with pride as Mr. Tréville signed an official document and said, now you are truly a musketeer. Athos, Porthos, and Aramis held up their swords, and D'Artagnan did too. Together they shouted, all for one, and one for all. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. Make sure you like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye until next time.